Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Don't Risk It podcast presented by VFIS Client Risk Solutions. This program focuses on the exposures our clients frequently encounter and discusses some potential solutions to help reduce these exposures. I'm your host, Chris Rogers with VFIS Client Risk Solutions, and today we're discussing medical assessments for emergency responders. Joining me on the program today are Dave Bradley and Blair Tyndall from the Client Risk Solutions team. Dave and Blair are here to discuss the benefits of your agency proactively providing medical assessments to your personnel. Dave, Blair, I want to thank you both for joining me today. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Chris, for having me.
Great to be here, Chris. Thanks.
So let's start off the conversation. We've talked about this program delving into medical evaluations for our personnel. So can we talk about the difference between a standard physical and what an NFPA 1582 examination is going to provide?
Great place to start, Chris. And, when you think about a standard physical, you go to your primary care physician. It's pretty rudimentary, depending on your medical conditions. There'll be a hands-on physical assessment, maybe some blood work and things like that. But it's not comprehensive as compared to NFPA 1582. Those physicals actually assess firefighter health and fitness through a range of tests that include hearing and eyesight, pulmonary function testing, cardiopulmonary assessments, blood tests, lung, chest x-rays, and stress test with echocardiogram. That's a superficial review. Certainly the NFPA 1582 website has a wealth of information that you can reference.
So why should an organization implement a physical examination program? Are we looking to pull people off the trucks? Or are we trying to prolong their career in the service?
Well, Chris, the main thing that we look at is the safety of the responders, safety for the community, and then trying to prevent any unnecessary accidents or incidents. So let me dive into that a little bit deeper. So first of all, we're all concerned about the health and safety of our responders. There are many times that we have seen our customers implement these very simple physicals and actually find a member that's, got a serious medical condition that they were unaware of. They may be in, they may be in AFib. They may be a really critical patient that they're walking around with this condition and not even aware. So we have to look at it from that standpoint as a real benefit to the member, as well as backing up to protecting the organization. So we want to make sure as an organization that we're providing responders out in the field that are at their best, peak physical condition, that they don't have any underlying medical concerns that would prevent them from doing the job safely and causing no further harm, right? Because as responders, we're there to, solve a problem, not create another one. So those are the real benefits of that. And then, in a claim situation, if we do have something that occurs because someone has a medical condition and we do cause further harm, then it's always good to have that baseline information there that each department is doing their due diligence and evaluating their responders and being as professional and precautionary as they can.
So I would think some of the biggest currency for implementing some of those programs are what you just talked about, finding a success story. There's a lot of pushback because, as I mentioned, some providers might think that we're trying to pull them off the rig, that's exactly the opposite. We're trying to prolong their career in the service. We're trying to find that tick in the head gasket before the engine blows, and so it's a proactive means. And so to kind of segue that a little bit, we talked about currency, and when we're doing a medical examination, those things are not cheap. So how can an organization with budgetary concerns implement a program?
Another great question. And, you look at NFPA 1582 physicals, per member, they're usually somewhere averaging around $800. For a lot of departments, that's going to be cost prohibitive. Even though, to Blair's point, when you find that benefit to a member, that success story where you've potentially saved their life, that's a small cost. But still, keeping in mind the cost, VFIS has a resource called our annual medical statement that essentially asks a lot of the same questions related to heart care, lung, other medical conditions. That can be completed by a member. And what's important to understand is there's always HIPAA concerns with I'm going to fill this out, and now my chief, my supervisor, somebody is going to see this. It needs to be clear that this goes directly to your medical director, who that HIPAA piece is then protected, and the department itself may not be aware of the issues that person has from a medical standpoint. But if a medical physician identifies, hey, we need to take action on this, that can be done.
Yeah, that's a good point, Dave. And I wanted to kind of back up and discuss something else as well. These evaluations or assessments, as we call them, are not meant to preclude anybody from being a member of an organization, especially in our all-volunteer departments. There are so many areas that people can serve their community and be a productive member of, a volunteer fire organization, volunteer EMS organization. The medical evaluation just gives you a baseline for what activities that they are physically able to perform. So that ties back into having job descriptions, having things ironed out within the organization of what a firefighter's job, duties are, what a firefighter's requirements are, what an EMS provider's requirements are. What does my organization require from a physical standpoint to operate an emergency vehicle? And physical agility is not always about age, but so when you have those things in place, you can always reference back to what the job description says, and you would still be able to say, okay, this individual, because of these physical restrictions, cannot be an interior firefighter. They cannot drive one of our emergency vehicles, but there's so many other things that they can do inside the organization. So it's not an exclusion of any particular individual based on age or anything. It's just making sure that everybody's quote unquote fit for duty for the job that we have at hand and can do the best job for the community.
Well, gentlemen, I think that's a good place to wrap up. This is a short and sweet one, just to talk about the benefits of keeping our people safe and keeping them in the workforce. So I want to thank you for your time, and thank you for joining me today.
Thank you very much, Chris. Glad to be here.
Thanks, Chris.
And I want to thank you for listening to the program and for your interest in VFIS safety resources. I want to thank our guests Dave Bradley and Blair Tyndall once again for their time and information. Please consider subscribing to our program to stay up to date on new content releases. Also, if you like what you've heard, please consider leaving a review below. For more information about the many resources available from VFIS, please visit VFIS.com. And to submit ideas for future discussions, please reach out by emailing VFIS Risk Control at VFIS.com. Thanks, everyone, and have a great day. The views, information, or opinions expressed during this program are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of Gladfelter Insurance Group, VFIS, and its employees.